This video has been sponsored by Stark Media, and by sponsored, I mean shared around social media platforms to hopefully reach viewers just like you. They are doing great things over at Stark Media, so give them and the Checkered Flag Building a visit in downtown Massillon. They have the Tiger Store, a training facility for mixed martial arts, and much more. Trust me, they can't wait to see you. But yeah, speaking of Massillon, football season is right around the corner, and the Northeast Ohio vs. America Showcase is about ready to kick off the 2023 season. 4 teams from the state of Ohio will be taking on nationally recognized programs from all around the country. Ted Ginn Sr. and his Cleveland Glenville Tarblooders, after winning their first state title just this past season in Division IV, will be taking on the Dinwiddie Generals from Virginia, who won the Virginia 4A state title last year. Akron-Hoban, who has competed for just about each state title for almost a decade, whether that's Division II or III, will be taking on the Kentucky 5A defending champs Frederick Douglass. And then Lakewood St. Edward, who is our Division I back-to-back state champ, will take on Center Grove, who is the defending 3-time state champion from Indiana. But everyone around the country will turn their heads towards Friday night's game, where Valdosta, out of Georgia, will come into town to play Massillon for what will be the greatest matchup in modern-day football, Titletown versus Tiger Town. But what makes it the greatest matchup ever? After all, it's quite common for out-of-state powers to test themselves on each other. What makes this any different? Well, to start, Valdosta is currently number 1 in the nation for all-time wins. There is not one high school who can claim more wins for their football program. Massillon is 4th in the nation for all-time wins, just moving from 3rd last season. It is the first time that one of the top 5 programs are playing each other, and therefore marks the most combined wins for a matchup ever. The only games close are when Massillon plays McKinley every year, who has bounced from 7th to 8th to now 10th. And Massillon has also played Steubenville in the past, who is currently sitting at 14th. The other major component is the story behind this game, which explains how we got here. For decades up until the 1970s, Massillon held that number 1 spot for all-time wins. They also were number 1 in the nation for number of state championships at the time, with 22, having just won their 22nd title in 1970. But somewhere in the 70s, Massillon was passed up by Valdosta in all-time wins, who was racking those wins up fast and winning bunches of titles at a time. All of Massillon's 22 titles were from 1970 and before, during what we call the Pole Eras in Ohio, whereas Valdosta, on the other hand, would continue to add a championship in 78 and then even more in the 80s and 90s. They themselves would experience a drought after 98 when they won their 23rd state title. This passed up Massillon's record of 22. Then, seemingly overnight to most of us, and unknown to anyone under 20, somewhere in 2013 or 2014, Massillon was granted recognition by the OHSAA for 2 distantly past seasons where they claimed themselves state champions. The state was now allowing Massillon to officially claim 24 total state championships. This would put them back in first for the number of state titles won and would force the city to put up a new sign on Lincoln Way. But since the 1970s, Valdosta ran away with that number 1 spot for wins, but has slowly been hawked down by Massillon and a few others. The top 5 is now closer than it ever has been in decades, and Valdosta just recently won their 24th state title in 2016, tying Massillon for most in the nation. The top 5 are basically all racing to see who gets to 1,000 total wins first, which is a benchmark that not even the winningest college programs like Alabama, Michigan, or Ohio State have hit. So yes, the clash of titans that will be Massillon versus Valdosta will be one of the most highly anticipated matchups of all time. These 2 programs have been dodging each other since the 70s and 80s and have finally agreed to go head-to-head. As far as my personal prediction for who wins this game, let me tell you, I have been following Georgia blog sites for the last few weeks, and it seems that most fans from Georgia believe this game will be an easy road win for them, and it's ironically mostly because of Massillon's enrollment numbers and what they read online. They believe Massillon is a small school, which, hilariously, if you Google Valdosta's home stadium, you will see it holds just over 11,000. These fans on these blog sites do not understand that Massillon fans, as the visitors in this stadium that holds 11,000, would complain about the lack of seating available. I do not care who wins, I just want close games, and I truly believe Massillon will win a close game in classic fashion. And if it comes down to it, that Massillon crowd just might be the difference maker. Has Valdosta ever experienced an environment like Massillon? I don't know. And we will find out. Let me know what you think in the comments below as to who wins this Clash of Titans. If you want to check out the Massillon video I made last year calling for this game to happen, click here. If you want to see the McKinley preseason video we just made last week, click here. Make sure to hit that subscribe button as it helps us in the long run, and as always, thanks for watching.
That's good football.